Hey y'all. It looks like the recording started. Can y'all hear us? Because we can't hear you.
Can hear you.
Yes. Can you
Can
hear
hear
us
you.
now?
Yep.
We're very quiet though.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's all right.
Can y'all see my screen? Am I sharing the? Okay.
How's that? That's good. Are there any adjustments to the agenda? I muted your. Well, actually, we didn't do roll call. So before that, I said my name's Doug. I'm with Triangle West. We'll go to my left.
I'm Kelly Smith. I am with Go Triangle.
Great, thank you.
Sarah Williamson, Orange County.
Darlene Weaver, Orange County.
Ashley Oinby, City of Mebane.
Paul Kingman, Go Triangle Tax District Administration.
Stephen Strasburg, Tax District Administration.
Jack Eversole Robinson, Town of Carborough.
Meg Scully, Go Triangle.
Mr. Betty, Orange County. And online we have
Becca from
Josh.
Carborough and Josh.
Yes.
from
Josh
Chapel
Smith
Hill.
from Town Chapel Hill.
All right. Thank you very much. Do we have any adjustments to this agenda? All right, then or do we have any public comments? Anybody sign up?
I don't know if anybody else has received any public comment on any
More advertising.
or advertising. We'll do.
No, I'm kidding.
Great. With no comments, we'll move to
Minutes,
um,
April minutes.
April minutes. Hang on, I want to make sure I'm not getting a message about from the team. Got it. April minutes. Are there any proposed changes to the minutes that presented? If not, may I have a motion and support for approval?
Okay.
Anybody opposed to approving the minutes? Seeing
No.
none, minutes are approved unanimously. Schedule approval, we have 4 things under schedule approval. Who would like to talk about those?
I can.
Great, thank you, Darlene.
Darlene, will you blow up the agenda a little bit or whoever?
I got it.
Sure. Really. Thank you. Thank you.
Versus the meeting minutes.
So this is the meeting schedule that I have. I noticed that normally in November and December, if I remember correctly, it always is a conflict because Go Triangle has some things that's coming up because of the holiday. So that's why we try to move it to the second week.
Can I ask a couple questions?
Sure.
Or are you done?
No, I'm not done. And then I know that I sent you and Josh an email and y'all responded about having it like twice in Chapel Hill. That's what you was gonna talk about?
I was gonna ask a question because it says, sorry, I can't. I have ADHD, that's like my nightmare scenario.
Now I know how to get you. Wait, where is it?
Yeah.
I'll make it louder.
I'm gonna record
My
it.
brain malfunctions. Okay, better. Okay, anyway, so it does say the meeting place is in Chapel Hill. We could do more than 2. That's fine. We just need to know in advance. I just need to know which one so we can reserve a room.
Okay.
I would need that to y'all since y'all are offering. I mean, y'all picked it.
No,
sent
we
it.
sent, they sent me the information, so, yeah,
we Send it over, so you just let us.
I will.
And we'll,
Yes.
And then just the other question was if we could identify one of these meetings to do like a pre-work plan work session. I know we talked about that this year. That would be helpful.
Well, we planning on adding that in like September timeframe as a additional meeting. You talking about what we talked about last month about the project sheets? Yes.
That
Yes,
would be-
yes. Yes.
It could
So,
be
Do we
folded
need to meet in
that.
July then? Can we just bypass July, make that meeting time the September workshop?
So the
Okay.
September meeting would be the workshop. I mean, we
Right.
make A long meeting for that September
Oh,
meeting.
well, that would
Have
be
that
on
workshop
there.
as that
That would be
meeting. There was
preferred.
no additional meeting. I mean,
That
for
would
the
be preferred.
September meeting would just be a longer meeting and have the workshop.
That's
at the meeting.
perfect. Can we still get rid of the July meeting? Does anybody need to?
Well, so that was gonna be one of my, well, actually, two of my questions. You triggered one of them, but one of them was like, so I think it's good that we have the meeting scheduled, but do we wanna like, you know, and maybe that's like an internal conversation with, you know, the chair, vice chair. If there's certain meetings that we should just kind of skip over.
Well,
If we don't need,
if you approve the schedule, we don't have a June meeting. We don't have any items in the June meeting. So right now, if we approve all these schedules, there's no June meeting. So if we cancel the July.
well,
meeting-
June would be last year though.
No,
So
but-
you would actually have to officially say we're casting June this year. But I get your point, but I guess my other question, is, yeah, I don't know if it's too far, but we, like tax district, we could do something in Go Triangles, vicinity. I don't know, Doug, if you want to do that, but maybe it is something good to have it in different locations. So if.
I'm going to RTP, I mean, going to.
Right, so I know if it's too far, that's
I-
fine.
I
I
can
think-
speak to, oh.
Orange County, we need to have the meeting.
In Orange County, okay.
yeah, and so we were trying to think of this as being a north location and Chapel Hill as being a south location, so we hit both ends of the county. And we also thought with putting the schedule together, when Darlene consulted me, I said, it feels better to put dates out there and cancel than trying to add dates
Yeah.
mid-year.
Yeah, that makes 100%.
Prior to having the meeting, that in bylaws?
No,
No.
all meetings are not required. It's just the process and schedule. That's why we.
Sure, understood. I mean, it seems to me that most of the items, like business items, are on more of a quarterly basis. Like,
Yeah.
I would ask if we could look to, if maybe not 26, but maybe in 27. If there's a way to consolidate some of those items, because it does sometimes feel like we are just showing up to give an update and not much else is happening.
Or release for public comment.
Right, yeah, I mean, but if we know if we have quarterly meetings, you can consolidate the work plan schedule too and get work together. I just don't, a monthly meeting feels excessive for.
Would you allow us to do that in the next, what we want to say for the next 27 year? Right now, we just finished, we could cancel from the July
I
and
think
have
that we should,
have less
yeah.
meetings and stuff, but then going to FY 27 next year, we can just do quarterly.
That's what I thought.
I also do think Sarah has a good point of putting it out there, but then like proactively, you know, like if we know in October or November that we probably don't need it February, just tell everybody in advance, but I actually don't disagree about literally just putting it out as a placeholder.
My point is, do we need to set a precedent that there is a monthly meeting?
It's not required in the
No.
bylaws or anything. like that.
Yeah, okay. I mean, I think there's a good reason to take a look at the schedule and see if it can.
Could we, for the purpose of moving forward and getting something approved for the
Yeah.
July meeting, go with this for today? And then maybe we could look at what key topics fall when and bring back some suggestions.
For the 27 year.
Yeah, no, I
So you just-
understand that we need to approve. I think
Okay.
it makes sense to think about it.
I'd like to also offer a suggestion to the group that as we workshop the work program, that we also do our homework and at that workshop meeting, talk about any changes to the bylaws we'd like to see.
So September meeting would be a very long meeting for that.
That's okay.
Some cleanup that could happen.
Absolutely.
That could really improve the efficiency of what's happening and generate some benefits.
So rather than adding another meeting, we're just gonna take September meeting a very long.
Maximize the
maximize the
use of
September
our
meeting.
Let's plan to break it up and
Break sessions, a work session, like a
get.
break time.
Yeah.
We can do that.
You could also find out if you look closer at the schedule that maybe there's another month where there's an item that has to be, that forces a meeting into the bylaw then.
The advantage of doing it in September is you have October as well,
Yeah.
because the draft isn't due till December.
Yeah.
Well, with bylaws, because also the planning board has to approve.
County board has to approve the bylaws,
So,
right.
you know, we need to spin that up earlier in the
Yeah,
year.
it seems like it would make sense to take like the fiscal year to prep for like 27, right, for changes that would be. I think it makes sense to think about it as we're working through the process too. At least to me.
We'll be making a similar suggestion in our.
May I also ask, I had visions of us showing up in the wrong place. That we, as we announced the meeting. that
Secures that
make
venue, everything.
sure It's in bold print, location.
Once you approve this, it'll be on our county clerk's calendar, it'll be on the county's calendar, because that's what we do. We give it to the clerk, and the clerk posts all this stuff on the county's website.
But even in the emails with the distribution of the agenda, just some sort of flashing neon light that we're meeting in Chapel Hill.
We can make sure it goes into the calendar invite, which
Yeah.
months or which location.
Yeah.
Like that would
Yeah,
probably be all we need.
because I think we've actually done that before between here and the other
Oh, I
county
definitely have.
buildings.
Yeah.
I think we've shown.
I
up.
was walking in.
We did that earlier, the old, going somewhere out.
Oh,
Library,
whether it's the library
burning
building
area.
or the ag, or
Yeah, we
even
had
just.
Okay, so June, no meeting, July, no meeting. Is that what we're saying?
More elections.
That's what was that was my other concern. When is the next election? Because when the chair and vice chair, that was my next, I didn't look at the bylaws.
I think it's July.
It's supposed to be the first meeting
Of the new
July,
year.
we need to have a July meeting.
Or
Or agree to.
it's just at the August.
Or we can push it to August.
Yeah, it needs to be the first meeting.
First community meeting, so I don't know, it's up to y'all, if you don't want to, because we, 2 months of not meeting.
Can have withdrawal.
Well, the appeals not meeting in July, so they got nothing going on in
And we
July.
theoretically give a financial update in June, but again, that we.
That could be an
email
email.
out, Yeah,
That's an email.
yeah.
So at the close of this meeting, we will vote about not having the June meeting in 2025. And we're proposing
No July meetings.
no July meeting as adopting next year's meeting schedule. So,
And you'll detail out those Chapel Hill meetings.
Right.
Thought out.
Mhm.
so do we have a motion of support to approve the meeting schedule without the July 16th, 2025 meeting and the location of at least 2 of these meetings to be in Chapel Hill to be determined? Any support?
Okay.
Motion and support. Anyone against? Great, motion carries unanimously.
Next is the amendment schedule.
Okay, so,
Apologize for the formatting that was gone through.
okay. So, this is what we actually have for the, program amendment schedule. Basically what I did was, continue to kind of go off what we had last year and make sure the dates lined up to give us the time that we needed as well. If y'all see any changes or if you have any other suggestions, this is the schedule for the quarter.
Just a-
Yes.
Do we, that was my other concern. Past 3 years, we haven't done a Q1 amendment.
We
Have
have,
you allowed the room for a Q1 amendment? Because I mean, the first one isn't gonna be to our board till October.
Yeah, I mean, there really is no Q1 amendment. It would be, as part of the work plan. Now, we did do a kind of emergency when the BRT came in.
But that was an update, that was more of an
There's this-
appropriation update.
We'll see how that falls in wait, obviously, and then if that comes, that'll be something else, but I think, and Doug, I'll look to you on this, but I think if there ever is an emergency, we could do an out of cycle. But ideally, I think would be to stay on this 2, 3, and 4. process. And it's consistent for all 3 transit plans, that's the goal.
And even if we do a one, there is a public release, public review period for any emergency amendments.
Yeah, oh, of course, yeah, it would be, but again, the information is theoretically gonna be to the county by September. So you would hope that as we go through the budget process, anything that would have been Q1 would have been caught up. Yeah.
This is always worked in the past, right?
yes.
And then we need a motion and support.
Can I just make a note that the MEBN meeting in September will be the 8th
Okay,
because of the Labor Day holiday.
it'll be the 8th. Okay,
Okay,
I'll update
great,
that.
thank you for the update.
Now, do you present in every town? Oh, okay. So
This town was, when we first did the first year, it was up to the town discretion, if they would need to present to the town, this is up to the town discretion.
Motion and support. Moved by Meg,
Second,
support.
Ashley.
Ashley. I'm blanked on your name because
Here, that's
you don't talk much. We'll change that.
The opposite of me.
Do not use Stephen as an example of
Not the
appropriate meeting
model.
justification.
Nah, he's got a dark.
No,
Back.
hey.
All right, any opposed? No opposed, motion carries unanimously. Annual work plan development schedule.
Okay, so this is what I have down for our meetings, which y'all saw before, and this is how we're going to do the annual work program. And I'm looking to improve it as we continue to go on throughout the year. And we are going to do that class in September to make sure that we understand that.
Questions about the proposed work plan development schedule?
Just a quick question, Darlene. So this is kind of lines up with what was last year.
Yes.
Okay, motion support. Motion by Meg, support by
Second.
Orange County. Sarah?
Yeah.
All in favor, or excuse me, any against? No against. Motion passes unanimously. Lead agency matrix.
Over the past couple of years, Orange County has done its best to ensure and improve this process, and I think we could do the demonstration of the completion of the annual work programs and the amendments and stuff, sort of testament to that process. We're trying to help improve the customer service of the staff working with administration by taking on that responsibilities and authority, so y'all can be more focused on delivering the projects and the services, and just take the burden of the administration stuff off of your hands and off of your plate, so we can do the administration and more of the paperwork and more of the logistics and engagement is simply to update that process, similar to what Durham County did. Durham County is also improving its process with this period of administration and trying to ensure that so we can focus, so y'all can focus more on delivery of your projects and services. And simply request an update for that, the lead agency matrix following what Durham County done as well. And if there's any questions, concerns, happy to discuss it. Again, we would have to, if you would approve this now, the detail of this more would be defined in the bylaws update that we go through.
Can you review for us what's different?
There isn't much different other than Orange County, and there's better strong coordination with Orange County and Gold Triangle because we're the two approving authorities of the transit plan and the work program. So they're the two approving things. So we would be more working coordination and stuff. The only real change is Orange County is listed a little bit more with some of these places, especially in the last page and doing this stuff.
All right, can you just walk us through each element just quickly? Title,
Like from the beginning.
so Maya.
This was, there was a transit plan, again, like I mentioned earlier, Orange County and, Go Triangle would be approving authorities of the transit plan, so this could be continuing that process. Tax district administration, Go Triangle as a tax district administrator is doing the financial as well. Recommended updates to be better coordinated with Orange County so we can be more informed and more involved. Again, the, multi-year CIP, we would help organizing Orange County and start being more participatory in keeping more record of the CIP and what's going on with that.
Could I just ask like how this even came about? Like you're talking about the lead agency matrix right now?
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I would prefer to like the transit liaison meetings and things like that, but I don't, this is the first time I'm caring about anything like this. So has there been discussion like with anybody other than Orange County on these? Like, I don't know how the annual tax district administration budget could be Orange County involved,
Yeah.
or how this just doesn't even make, legally, I don't think this makes sense.
Okay, well, we couldn't remove this. I mean, this is something I was just watching.
Plus, it would be different compared, and I guess there could be differences between the three counties, but this is just concerning that this seems like it was done in a silo, honestly.
Yeah. We just remove it right now and, do my research on it. 'Cause
Like, I don't see where there was a desire or even a discussion about anything that would change. And with the MIOP and the CIP, honestly, like, as I mentioned last time, like, I think that actually should go to the tax district, because the tax district literally does it.
Yeah.
Like Orange County has zero input onto it. So,
Well,
Yeah.
I think Nish, wants to highlight, the work the county's doing. But I understand it needs to be coordinated, so why don't we meet with Orange County and the Triangle and the other tax districts meet separately and talk about this and make sure they're aligned in
Yes,
the obligations.
we could discuss it in this group, I guess, I don't know, but can you just keep scrolling down, 'cause I'm not sure what else is on here.
Especially, we just
Yeah.
tabled it for right now and continue because doing the research, because this is
Yeah.
like a
I
time
mean,
of
we had
reviewing
discussed-
anything back in December when we first proposed the discussion on it.
Yeah, that's something.
Yeah, it has to go back and
For
review.
probably a year year or more in the other counties
Yeah.
as we look to change it. And, one of the impetus of changing that in the other counties was because the Triangle opted to discontinue our lead agency engagement, communications and marketing for the transit plans in Wake. And then realized we should do the same in Durham, even though in Durham, it's really
Yeah.
very, very little work, and Wake it was a rather significant task. And so we took a year to disentangle from that, and we'll be seeing that reflected in July of this year. That's a whole year,
Right.
of coordination application. So that's where my question's like, whoa, where we?
my understanding is Durham and Wade, they've kind of gone through this process, and the only thing that changed in both was the, communication.
Yeah, yeah, I
So
think,
like the tax district stuff didn't even come up.
No.
That's why this is just totally blindsided.
no, I agree. I don't think anything else changed. I'm
It's
sorry.
actually disheartening.
No, I was just gonna say, when we get things like this in the future, it'd be super helpful to have like a marked up version, like what it is.
Track change version,
Yeah.
what changed, what
Or
didn't,
even
yeah.
just like a comparison table, that would be really helpful. Maybe quickly view.
I almost wonder if we need now with these, to me, I feel like, it is shame on us. Like, I should have looked at this more. I don't know when you sent it out, but like, I think key things like this need to be highlighted rather than just kind of thrown into an agenda and say, see the attack. Like, I just see.
Too. I
Right.
think I thought it.
When look in the first the first.
That's
page of the
y'all
meeting,
online.
the explanation
I didn't forget you.
Explained about how the service in the annual program. And the abstract was also explained a little bit more, or a little briefly about that lead agency matrix updates and why. So I guess my apologies for the intent being that
We
this
have-
will help improve, but we need to better coordinate.
We have, can we,
Yeah.
Hold on one second.
hold on,
Yeah.
go ahead.
There's two
Two peop-
hands raised online.
Yes,
They've been up for a minute.
Let's go with, is that Tina Moon?
yes,
first?
it is. Go ahead, Tina.
Thanks. Couple of thoughts on the CIP. I like it in concept. But I do have some concerns that we have a high likelihood that we'll end up with a lot of projects that are described in different locations with different numbers, because that tends to happen easily with these projects. So if there is a way, Nish, I understand your interest in wanting to publish this as part of the county's leadership in the transit plan now, but if perhaps there's a way that we could either use the annual agreement process or something like that, where we can simply take the numbers that Go Triangle has and then kind of send them to you so that they can kind of automatically populate a CIP table. If we don't come up with some type of system like that, I just feel like there's a real likelihood that we will all be publishing projects with different numbers, and it will be very difficult to track, and it will be problematic. So just wanted to share that.
Understood, thank you.
And Josh.
Yeah, thanks. I just wanted to highlight that I would appreciate if the full staff working group could be involved in some of these conversations about these changes. I think definitely understand the need to coordinate on logistics and some of the details if it's going to be transitions between Go Triangle and Orange County. But I think I would love to know the rationale as to why and to understand that before trying to make a vote either way on who should be the lead agency on some of these projects.
Well understood.
And one other thing, I'm sorry, because one other thing I would say too is, I don't understand the desire of, well, I understand the desire, but I don't understand like if it's appropriate to put MTP Horizon Year program stuff in a.
I saw that was my first, when I was looking through this, I'm like, I'm seeing reference to the MTP and
Yeah.
MTP and some of this stuff, and this is the same thing.
This is concerning, to me, this is.
The MTP was in the past, it wasn't the lead image for the past 2 years. I just saw that.
Yeah.
Not having caught that the previous 2 iterations.
Well, that's
Not
why
having
it's
caught it.
important, and this year, we're gonna talk about this in the finance update with the agreements that we need this year. Because we didn't do it last year when the county was the lead for special agreements.
Yeah,
Obviously, talking with Kelly, that's something I think the MPO needs to be, like, yeah, MTP, yeah, he's focused.
I wanted
Yeah.
to. It would be helpful to, I think, start thinking about the next multi-year vision update that we're probably getting close to that, so maybe
Mhm.
including that in this major.
right, because the matrix didn't go into detail about the plan,
Yeah.
the matrix just goes into. Yeah, absolutely. But this is tape.
So we need a motion to postpone.
So
Support. So we have a motion to postpone and support. There's no more comment. Anyone opposed? Motion carries. Thank you, Nish, and we look forward to listening on this in June and July when we don't have.
No meat for it. But that will go blank. Yeah, no 2 meetings and all this stuff. No more coordination.
Okay, last under administration is public engagement and communication. Any updates there?
I think you have an update,
Yes.
where it's like, okay,
Yes.
like that stuff.
I did. So I was, thank you, Ashley. She invited me to attend, one of the bike ped activities that they had, which involved mostly about the youth and the children. And the police department was there to actually help the children. You know, it was all about safety. So I engaged with a lot of different parents about the bike ped ban. And then since it was children, I started talking a little about our safe routes for school. And I was able to engage with them and get a lot of good feedback that I was able to give to Nish so that they could, you know, make comments and provide any information on how we can improve going forward for safety in children.
That's awesome. It's always great to meet people where they're at and.
Yes.
Thank you. Anything else? Meg?
I can share more with our Go Triangle updates, but we are out in the field quite a bit as we work with our service changes in August, and now even prepping in November, and that includes some really significant changes, so I'll talk about all.
We have a Trails Vision workshop today at the North Campus right across from BMV. So if y'all are interested this evening, come out to the Trails Visioning exercise. I think we have one at at the Chapel Hill Monday. I think we had one in Chapel Hill Vision workshop for the Trails thing. So that went well. Thank you. If y'all are interested, I know. We don't have any other public engagement stuff going on in terms of planning. Or the second round of bike ped workshops will be in the fall when the plan is drafted.
Now is that Trails Visioning session part of the bike?
And this is separate, it's our Department of Parks and Recreation is doing a separate trails plan and led by Ginsler as a consultant, and they'll be finishing that around the same time. So we're trying to make sure the 2 plans are done together.
We'll make sure that they're layered and we'll talk about that. Madeline, maybe you David. Okay.
And all these will help improve transit access to some of these major areas, like parks and places.
Oh, also, in June, I do have some activities coming up. I'm working with the Department of Aging, Brandy, she has 2 events. One is in Chapel Hill with the Passmore and the Seymour, where I'm gonna go out and, just talk to the community about transportation and how they can access the transportation if they need help filling out anything. Also, I'm partnering with our social services, our DSS. They're gonna have a job fair in June, and I'm gonna go there because I feel like people might need transportation to work. And so that's some of the things we have coming up in June.
Is that is she?
Talking about Brandy,
She's always.
she's always been that. Oh, okay, well,
Yeah.
since I've been here, it's been her, yes.
Wonderful.
And thank you, MPO, for that funding.
Yeah, that's, I think that truly is going on. Not together. He was with Orange County all years ago.
Yeah, the STEM program,
The, just mobility management
Yeah.
for Orange County. Orange County. Wonderful.
Thank you for all those awesome updates. It's great to hear those details. Stephen, do you have a?
Just before you move on from the administrative comments or the section, could I just ask a question? So I know right now in Durham and in Wake, the administrators, TPAC, staff working group have a meeting before the agenda's even out, so they invite tax district to be part of
it's in
that.
the review.
Yeah, like
It's in
even
the
what
review.
will be on it, so to avoid kind of this blind
It's
side.
in the review, yeah.
Does that happen? And maybe the tax district just hasn't been a part of it, but has that been?
That's something we haven't done in 2 years.
Yeah.
So we need to add that into this process.
I can speak to that a little bit. Just, it's been one of the things that I've been working on since I got here. And Darlene and I are working on the processes, and she's been talking with Durham and Wake both about what they do to get some best practice ideas.
Okay.
So we're working on that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Well,
Mhm.
sometimes they tell it and something else.
Yeah, I mean, I'll do a agenda review with Durham and wait.
Yeah, so like with Stephanie and then Brandy.
Yeah, it's like you do agenda reviews with your board, your TC meeting.
Right.
Well, not even a review, it's just a conversation that's gonna say what's
Yeah.
going on in staff working group, what we're talking about.
With the agenda prep, we'll say agenda prep.
Yeah, agenda prep. Yeah. And that is.
I don't know that I've been typically involved as chair in Durham for the MPO. That's
Not the prep, but once the thing is done.
I think the last 1 or 2 months they haven't done it either there.
I mean, even before that.
Okay. Really? Oh, yeah, you're right. No, you're invited. I guess we just.
Am I?
Yeah, no, I think you are. Because sometimes I'll be on with Helen and Brandon. I'll say, I don't know, Doug's doing. I don't want to say that in a public meeting. so I'm sorry.
Well, there will be some changes with our representation, and that's part of it. But we'll get into that with
Or
updates.
not, Doug, I mean, if it's working.
We're sorry.
okay with
Yeah,
it. You could just ask him to email it to you.
the future staff assigned would love to participate.
Yeah, there you go.
Okay, great. Well, next is Go Triangles, very concise and always informative financial report schedule update.
So theoretically, next month, we were gonna do a update of Q3, so everybody is given, obviously, the reimbursements, most of them have been paid out. We're putting together the stoplights, and that'll be included in it. We've asked, everybody to give us an estimate to what we can roll forward to the boards as part of the ordinance, as Paul mentioned. Caroline was actually the first in all 3 counties to give the information, so I'll give her accolades for that. That'll obviously be going to the boards in June. This May and 7-8 days, Nish is going to be presenting with Brandy, Durham, and Stephen Mott. And I'll be with Stephen Mott, probably presenting on Wake, the actual work programs and / plans to the Board of Trustees. Then obviously in the June Audit and Finance Committee, we're gonna be telling the board what's this anticipated carry forward amount that should make the plan. So we're obviously gonna have to keep that as part of the ordinance. Paul is obviously working on the CIP and the MIA, at least at this point, as lead agency of it. One thing that I do want to take the time to discuss is what part of the reason Kelly's also here is I know last year the agreements were kind of, lack of a better word, just not, kind of like, lack of a better word, but wasn't really streamlined the way they should be. It was kind of everybody do it. The good thing is FY25, thanks to Kelly, a lot of it is done. So I think every agreement has been signed. Everybody's been paid, delivered. So we wanted to talk about 26. Kelly and the legal group has been kind enough to volunteer and keep me honest, to draft anybody's agreements similar to last year. So obviously, we're going through the groupings. We're gonna bring that to our board, get that approved. Kelly's gonna work, whoever wants to get the agreements, but I know that the county has mentioned to me that they might want to still do their own agreements. So again, you can't get reimbursed till you get agreements, but to Tina, to Hillsborough, to Chapel Hill, to Go Triangle, to MPO, anybody else who would like Kelly to do a draft of an operating and a capital agreement, she's willing to do that based on last year, send it over for review, and then kind of lead the process, because our goal is for that to happen probably mid-July. So by mid-August, everything is I's dotted, T's crossed.
So
And then,
September workshop, you have agreements and everything ready when you do.
under Kelly, it will be,
September will be, hey, agreements are done, war agencies are done,
Yeah.
everything is done.
Q1 will be
So
done.
September, we have
Yeah.
a prepared for.
Yeah. This is what we actually volunteered last year too, but I know the county.
The deadline last year was in September to have all the agreements done.
Yeah.
You got your reimbursement.
But we want to work with the municipalities and save time for them and the towns from kind of doing it. So that's something that Kelly and the team is willing to do. The other main adjustment, I think, will be a special agreement for the BRT, because the NPO should be a party of it. TPO, sorry, should be a party of it, and the Go Triangle Mobility Hub is another one that should be a special agreement.
Why is that?
Because that's getting like federal and.
Because the federal funds are associated. with it.
Yeah.
Both the MPO.
Yeah, so it's in Durham.
Through their.
It's in Durham
Yeah.
and it's in Wade,
That makes
but
sense.
Orange County didn't have any special agreements last year. So reviewing it, the legal team.
But also,
Regular
it's
tax
it's
district.
also part of NCDOT as well, that project also with DOT.
This one, the BRT, the BRT should have always been a special agreement because they're getting money from.
Federal, I understand the
Yeah.
MPO, but it's also is the DOT also.
Yeah, probably, yeah.
Just to clarify, so you're saying any project that gets
Federal. funds.
federal, well, we have more than just the BRT.
That comes through the.
That comes through the end. Yeah.
The point of
Yeah,
our inclusion is to make sure that it's in program
What money is coming through the MPO for the BRT?
and if it's a regional significant project or if
How
it's
is that
that way.
defined?
What's
How is that defined?
regionally significant
Yeah.
project or fixed guideway. So yes, a BRT would be a regionally significant project and be a fixed guideway, because it would have dedicated space.
Okay, where is that, like, detail?
That's in the regs.
It's in the what?
That's in federal regs. We have to include that in our planning program. We're
It's this.
It's
like-
we're only a signatory because we are promising that we will program and plan for those regionally significant projects that have to be included in the program and MTP. So we're not involved in,
in the STIP, so it has to be put in the STIP instead of the MPO will coordinate to do that, recognizing.
Yeah,
we
But
have
what does
to
that have
fund.
to do with this?
That's the connection I lost the connection on the
Yeah.
regionally significant. I understood the connection like for us on TMH because the NPO programs
it's,
funds that they're the direct designated.
it's not the management of the
Yeah.
work. It is we're signing on and saying that we're.
I think it's in the bylaws that it actually says that the TPO, anything that could be in the STIP, NTP, regional impact. Or,
Twin stuff though, like, it's not just that project.
Yeah, and we're making sure that
yeah,
So all of them,
well, you don't have.
If they're
like,
using-
capital,
like vehicle purchases, right?
but that wouldn't be in the STIP of the NTP.
They're not re- are you using-
Federal funds.
are you using federal funds for that?
Often, yeah.
Well, when you are, we would be signatory just making to promise that we are programming it.
Okay. Is that just capital or operating?
I think it's just capital and the way it's set up, because we,
It's still a little confusing. I'm gonna have to go back and like untangle that. I understand like what you're saying and like
Yeah.
that piece, the STIP, the MPO, that all makes sense. What doesn't make sense is this money, like an agreement that's specifically reimbursing us.
Well, I think the concern is really the STIP part, because the whole point is that. So the NSBRT is not in.
Is DOT's got nothing to do with the NSBRT. Because the NSBRT would be this.
Money from anyone except the voters and this plan.
Yeah, I don't.
but it still has to be programmed.
Yeah, it has to be.
Yeah,
programmed.
but what does that have to do with this? I totally understand all these separate pieces. I just don't understand why there's an agreement for transit tax revenue reimbursement. That's what the agreement is for, right? It allows us, I'm just like, somebody needs to explain that to me.
I'm leaning the same way. I'm not understanding it.
No,
'cause
no.
I think our I think that occurs at a higher level, where like our bylaws, where we all agree to work together doing what we need to do, but on it.
So I think it's the fixed skyway part too.
That's,
This
yeah,
is,
we just need to
this is
get
the
in.
process that we established working through all of the framework documents to get here. If we'd like to review that, then let's set that.
Issue in it per se. I just would like to know where it says that and like what the justification is.
Yeah, so we'll do the research.
It's just,
We'll provide it.
And,
it's, trust me, I would
yeah,
like to be as little party of any entanglement as possible.
Would we do that? Like.
well, I think it also helps the town to help to have the TPO in it, but what I would say, to Doug's point, is that if we could also,
Like the plan, the work plan is the part that's promising us the money.
I think the MPO agreements for cooperation with all of the jurisdictions within it and the agencies within it is what binds us to working together and programming any project in the TIP.
The agreement is
I don't
the
think.
reimbursement, isn't
Yeah.
it?
well, so to Doug's point, because we were in these conversations with Atkins when they did it. I know it came up, I know all of the BRTs in Raleigh are special agreements because the NPO feels like they should be apropos to it, so we just, right, so we probably just followed that process. That is partly for me also why I just put the MSBRT in, to be honest with you. But we could go back, read all the bylaws.
Because
just
that
to
is a
double
little,
check.
like,
The-
once we start talking about agreements
Just
that are,
to-
no, let me finish. please.
Go ahead.
Once we start talking about agreements that are required for BRT, then the FTA says this is a critical agreement. And then that starts to get very complicated. So if there's not a reason that we need it, like, I do not want to, like,
Well, I don't think we're gonna be able to
Yeah.
unpack all this right now, so we can, let's
Yeah.
put this in unintended a parking lot and we'll circle back to it.
right.
We have
Tina.
Tina online. Who would like to make a comment? Tina, go ahead.
Thanks. I have certainly contemplated what Caroline's talking about when providing a signature for Carborough projects as well, but my specific question had to do more to Stephen with the agreements that we will need to bring an item to the town council for them to approve the signature and the entering into an updated agreement with the transit folks. So if he would reach out to me, I'm happy to work with Kelly, but I want to make sure that our totals are the same before that agenda item goes to the council at the last meeting in June, which I think is June 17th. So I just want to flag that so Steve and I can get together with Kelly to work that piece out. Thanks.
Great, thank you. And I would like to thank Kelly and the rest of the Go Triangle team. I know they put our agreements together this year. Not the best always in administrative paperwork, so it was very valuable support, and I feel much more confident about getting them in so we can get reimbursed. And you know, this is public transparency through the process we've set up. So, any other financial report schedule updates? Okay, great. Moving on to project sponsor updates. Caroline, what good stuff is Chapel Hill Transit got going on?
The BRT is chugging along, not a train. But actually not like fixed right now.
It's building roads for transit.
That's it.
Not buses
Yeah,
resembling
not buses
trains.
resembling trains, right? Yeah, we, just received our design package with, the final segment of the corridor for 60% design, which is like a huge, massive giant. We're navigating changes at the federal level. We lost a large part of our core team that we've been working with for several years, which is a real bummer. You know, it's a lot of institutional knowledge that unfortunately has been lost. But we have a couple new folks. We're still moving forward. You know, I feel bad for them because they're probably doing far too much than any one person could possibly do. But they're committed to keeping us on track. They don't see any issues right now with the schedule or the funding. Brian was in DC, I guess the first week of May, and he spoke with both Tillis's office and Bud's office. Bud's office has never engaged with us before anything. And they seem to, obviously it's just checking, but they didn't indicate that there were issues, I think there's a lot of benefits to this project that align with administrative priorities. There's a lot of economic development benefits. It is about the first question they literally asked was, is it a train? So, okay, great, sounds good. At least there's not like a huge target on our back. So we're continuing apace. Hopefully we'll have our first workshop with FTA in the fall, which is what is compelling, sort of closing all of these loose ends, things that they're looking for, all of their agreements. We're currently working on negotiating an agreement with UNC that's going to be required for station access. Whole lot of stuff is moving right now, and getting that final grant request in this summer. Hopefully. So then it's waiting for a while.
So is this the third review that'll go in at the end of summer?
For the project as a whole,
Yeah.
yeah, this will be the third, right? So they're grading in 21, I think, or yeah,
The third rating of 4.
that's right. Well, this is the final rating, like this is the one. So this is where, if they, we don't have to fund it, but hopefully, it was included in the budget last year with money first, the recommended budgets, and it was included with no money, but it hadn't been zeroed out entirely. We got some additional funding that was like left over from prior fiscal years. So we're hopeful that we can get that remaining $114 million to close that federal funding gap, is the rest.
Where is the cooperation between the town and Division NC Division
yeah.
7 at?
So I think there's a desire at like the leadership level in Division 7 to coordinate for sure on like whatever possible. Executing that has been a little more challenging, like, at the staff level. I think most of the folks it seems like we've engaged with are not clear on what the directive is or how to make this happen, or feel that they don't have the capacity to do the things that like we most need. So, for example, one of the things we were really hoping they would be able to help with was right-of-way acquisition. This is what they do, right? Like they do it all the time, and they were like, "Oh, our office just like can't do that." So we will have to contract with someone, which is what we were going to do originally, but it'll cost, $1 million probably, that maybe could have cost a whole lot less if they were able to help with some of that. We have a call either this week or next week with one of their project managers to discuss, I think, more of like the project management elements and construction management, like figure out if there's a way to meet at least procurement and oversight, because I think that there's a huge benefit to working through their networks for procurement versus our non-existent large capital projects, network of contractors. Like I went to planning school. I'm not a construction manager,
You ever built a parking deck?
Yeah. Yeah, you want to go there? Yeah, I mean, but that's a good example, right? Like, we don't have a capital project department or division. We don't have real estate people. We have part-time attorneys. Like the town of Chapel Hill is not like, a conglomerate. And everything we do is harder, because we have to either contract out or, figure out like, okay, I guess today I'll figure out how to do this thing. But
You don't need a standing contract, so most of these construction companies don't even need a standing state contract. They already
yeah,
have.
exactly, right? Like, so, and they're gonna bid on the work because they want to maintain a good relationship with NCDOT. Like, we don't have that, we don't have any of that behind us. And we've seen what's happened in Raleigh. It's been very challenging for them. And, hopefully, like, even if just that one piece they could help with, I think would be really beneficial. We've been continuing to work with them on that northern part between Weaver Dairy and I-40, that I-306 AC interchange project, which has actually been really good. Like, it's been collaborative. We are in the process of executing the cost share agreements. It's going to save us some money. I know. I mean, It's challenging. But you're coming off an interstate and like, it's a
I know.
hard place to plan for. Like, we went back and forth. They really were open to like a lot of like conversations about supportive bike ped infrastructure. And, you know, they have a project manager over there who is really helpful. But, you know, just the right of way acquisition and the cost share, like the marginal cost that we'll end up paying for that segment is like, it's a pretty significant cost savings versus what we pay. I mean, it's not gonna like change, it's not a game changer, but you know, it's helpful. So, and I think it set a good precedent, like we can do this, right? We can work together, we can find solutions that are mutually beneficial and, you know, hopefully that sets a example going forward.
At what point should all of the operators that intersect with this route?
Yeah.
Will we be ready to engage with short range transit planning? I mean, I'm imagining it's like some point in construction when we know
Yeah.
that there's an open date.
Yeah.
Or an expected date of
Yes.
operation, and then all of the short range transit planning, even, you know, part even needs to be
Yeah,
part
part
of
needs
the
to be in there.
conversation,
Yeah.
so that we're, you know,
Yeah.
really making the greatest collective use of this
Yeah.
asset.
Yeah, our goal and another NCDOT update, we got a call playing that the other day from someone at IMD, and they're working on this intercity transit. They want to have, there's a route that goes from Raleigh to Asheville, right? And they're like, can we stop at Eubanks? And I was like, that's like, sounds okay to me. You know, there's agreements and things like that you negotiate, but you know, I think moving towards Eubanks as a regional hub, right? Like, so that we're getting it, even for our own routes for Orange County, for Go Triangle, for Hart, like, you know, so that way we're not clogging up that corridor, like you transfer to the high capacity transit at Eubanks, like that's where that change happens. Obviously, not everywhere, like campus is gonna be more challenging, you know, you're gonna have to have your local routes running through some places. But as much as possible, we can like bring into the center. That's what we're gonna be really looking at for that short range transit plan.
Will that, like, without knowing any of the details with Eubanks
Yeah,
Center, right? I mean, so it's gonna need to be able to handle over the road coaches.
yeah,
It's gonna need, I mean, I guess there will be peak times and capacity and days that'll need to be,
yeah.
and user information and systems and all those things.
Mhm.
Is that, I'm sure that's been thought of how much.
It actually, like, in all honesty, I don't know that it's really been like built out in that way. But that's like my dream is really like, let's figure out how to make this like a real mobility hub. I have like this goal. I want to work with Prairie Village. I want to explore community development. Like, I mean, you could really do something.
There's a lot of land
there. There's,
Yeah.
you could do like structured parking, you could, you know, I think there's some real potential there to make something happen for like a lot of different things that are coming together there.
The Research Triangle Foundation and our regular partners at Triangle, we have some other partners in the area that are exploring these
Mhm.
things, so.
Yeah.
At the very least, lessons learned, if not, you know,
Absolutely.
formal cooperation.
Definitely.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
And I'm also, I think our group would probably like to hear about the intercity route evaluations through IMD.
Yeah, I mean, it's one trip in each direction daily that is subsidized through the
The
state. We're used to having.
NCDOT the NCDOT presented at BGMPO yesterday. The regional study that's going on right now for that intercity passenger thing, the issue is improving rail corridor transit connection between Raleigh and Charlotte better through the S-Line project, and how the improvements to Arlington and other places to Durham and stuff. And they including frequency, there's a survey out right now for that intercity passenger service and stuff.
Okay, that's for
engagement stuff.
rail. Caroline's talking about.
There's
Greyhound.
one for bus.
This is bus, yeah, so there's one, this is like the one subsidized route that they have, but Greyhound was like, well, we wanna have our other. Like also go through there, one goes to Charlotte, and I was like, that sounds pretty good, like when you have the college right there, like I'm sure there's like, you know. Parents who would be thrilled to have their kids come home on a bus instead of like picking them up, you know,
Yeah.
including me.
And we want to make
Being Charlotte next fall.
congratulations.
Thank you.
Sorry, but Bill graduated before.
Well, it's like, you're just gonna have to sign, like, this, we just have to execute an agreement for this. This happens fast. So we're looking at it now, we're reviewing with Asheville, negotiated with them to make, you know, address some of the things that you're talking about, like wear and tear and all that kind of stuff. So this is, this is pretty new, but, I think it's a cool opportunity, and it's good for BRT with the feds when they're reviewing our project application. I think they like to see that kind of, you know, those connections and potential ridership.
Josh posted a link in the chat. Thank you, Josh, for acknowledging that. Yeah, I mean, you know, bus travel, and I live very close to the Greyhound terminal in Raleigh. Like, you know, bus travel needs to be prominent, dignified.
Yeah.
Too, for the effort and that service. And
Yeah.
No, that's exciting. I will plug in with the IND project managers and get them to Triangle West.
Karen, do you know, did they just pull back up the study they did probably 7 years ago now, or did they actually do
I
a new
have
study?
absolutely no idea. Like, they literally called and were like, we have this idea, and I was like, sounds great, let's talk about it.
I think-
Public
Tell me
transportation.
more. Yeah, great.
I'm guessing they pulled out their last study and the demise of Greyhound in general.
Yeah.
Probably.
Yeah, I'm not sure. Where, like, what compelled, well, actually, you know, that's not true. I do know. So, Hart Evans is the, project manager. Do you know her? Yeah, I worked with him many moons ago on
Last night.
this project, BRT, the BRT project, like when we were both working for separate firms. And he said that, like, traditionally NCDOT has been extremely hands-off with the subsidy that they get for this bus route. Like, they've just given it to Greyhound and they're like, great, like, good luck, you know, but they really tried to, like, be more hands-on with some of it and figure out where there's potential for growth. So I think that is the thing that has changed, but I'm not sure what they've been looking at to justify any of that.
Plug in with Hart.
Yeah. Yeah.
Thanks for great updates.
That's a lot, yeah.
Oh, no, this is fascinating information.
It did trigger something in me.
Hold it until we get to go to.
Go try to get that later.
I missed my update.
Who's TDA?
Nevin, actually, what good stuff you got doing up there?
No major transit updates. We are updating our comprehensive land development plan, and so transit is incorporated as a goal implementation. We'll see where that goes.
Well, I think, am I understanding right, that Orange County and Hillsborough are also, if they've already gone through a comp plan update process, they're starting on a UDO process.
Well, Orange County's land use plan is still further out.
Yeah, kind
They're
of.
finishing this-
Yeah, we'll finish ours before.
But the UDO process.
That would
follow
likely
you.
be an implementation, yeah.
Yeah, Hillsborough is,
Ahead.
I think it's getting there now, so you've got a example close by.
Yeah, that's good to know.
Without a Buc-ee's.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Hillsborough, do we have anyone?
And they're not going to make it a conflict.
Would like to congratulate Matt. He recently got his ICMA certification to be a certified manager. That's a big career accomplishment.
Yes.
Yeah. Carrboro, Tina and Becca.
So Carver is also working on writing a new UDO. So we're having completed our comprehensive plan. So we're in the mix for doing that, as well as updating our Safe Routes to School plan. But specific to this group, I'm still moving along for our infrastructure projects. So lots going on. Thanks.
Awesome. Go Triangle.
We have the August service changes I mentioned early. Big news here is that we're going to have 15-minute frequency all day on the 400, 405. And I mentioned the engagement type activities that are going on for this. I've also been encouraging our content marketing team to really work with the partners on this corridor to really market this, because we've we'll expect to see ridership spikes when this happens. We know it from work we've done on the DRX and from what Raleigh has experienced, so really exciting for us. And also, that's the Rust Bus opening. CRX and DRX will be serving Rust Bus, all of which will be, but most relevant for this group is others. This will also be your time to adjust on-time performance. We have 30-minute Sunday service on all our 4 routes. Tina, Jay, if he has not sent it to you yet this morning, we'll be sending you that request for data on the ridership on the 405 in Carrboro.
Yay, thank you.
Yeah, Caroline, this week, a job schedule will get to you on the 420 because Chapel Hill will continue operating that. Tweaking the schedule as well as going to full service facilities.
Meg, can you share that with me as well? I'm
What?
just curious about the 420, just because we've got that route that's at the same time.
Share.
The hill to hill.
The hill to hill. Can I also
Oh,
see
yeah,
about those
Yeah,
changes? Just,
once we finalize it, we'll.
can you share the draft?
Sure.
That'd be great. Thank you.
Let's see.
Because doesn't OPT run with
Yeah,
the off-peak?
we orange that one, yeah.
These are,
Orange that.
yeah, these are minor tweaks and a restoration of full service, just for on-time performance.
We're in the middle of run bid, so it's a good time to
Yes,
just make sure they're syncing up.
You guys have changes on?
No,
No.
but just want to make sure.
Yeah, no, it's smart. We are negotiating a bus blueprint study with consultants right now for June board approvals. We will have likely have Chapel Transit, Orange County as transit providers work with us on that. More to come. Paul Black is doing that, and we'll work with Paige on that. And as soon as we get the full scope, we'll share that. And again, this is just looking at the triangles, kind of longer term service. TAP evaluation, this is, so the bus blueprint is funded by Go Triangle, but I just know there's general interest in that. TAP evaluation is ongoing. This program is well studied, well implemented. We'll continue to be implementing it in about the same way that we had the first year, with some minor tweaks like tightening up the decision tree for applicants so that they are sure to apply for the correct program, the most appropriate program first. And we're working on how we request reimbursement. We'll be reducing, as part of the survey, we asked which passengers were at disability passes, which are 50% off. And so we'll use that survey to reduce our request for reimbursement at 50% of that percent of people. So we're fine tuning this program. And we work very closely with Raleigh because they're also getting funding through the Wake Transit Plan. Our triennial review is underway. There isn't much to do with this funding, but just for everybody's interest, who also goes through this fun process. Site visit is early August to coincide with Rust Bus launch. You know, we just like filing it up. Our new CEO is joining the first week of June, just so that we can all do word games all the time. It's Brian Smith. I remember Byron's been serving as our interim.
And I heard he comes from Hampton Roads.
Come from Hampton Roads. He's, no, always mess up names. But he'll join the first week of June. As you all know, I think I've mentioned before that our board approved our strategic plan for the next 3 years in February. And our communications department will be working with, I was the PM on that, approved, it's done, the next goal basically ending there. Our communications department will be working with the new CEO when he comes in to talk about how to do external rollout of this. And I've made my recommendations. I would expect that anybody who participated as a stakeholder in the interviews at kickoff of the strategic plan, the consultants, Brian will be making a personal visit to you to talk about where we landed in these other kind of meet and greet, but more to come. Byron Smith and Catherine have been very involved in a transition plan for bringing onboarding our new CEO. So everybody will probably get to know it soon. The Triangle Mobility Hub, real exciting. We had a kickoff meeting with the consultants who are on board. I asked Catherine Miller, who's our TOD and project manager for TOD, director project manager for that project. Just send me the timeline so I could just share it. So June, just coming up now, MOU for the pre-development services will be executed with the development partner. December, we'll have, or July, conceptual footprint finalized, transit facility, property acquisition needs identified. And by December, the NEPA environmental clearance will be completed, real property acquisition begins. So moving this along now, it's, with Rust Bus going live, we have a ribbon cutting July 25th for Rust Bus. I'm sure everyone will get an invitation, please feel free to join, going live August. And bringing Kathleen Miller on to head this up as PM. We are full steam ahead on this project now, along with our bond renovation. So really moving both of those along. Regarding the bond, the board will consider selecting a design team in June. RFP to follow. Bump has some money for the transit plan.
Yeah.
So more to come, lots of involvement on that. This one will be real interesting. It'll be a live service, a live facility providing service every single day, being renovated at the exact same time with significant upgrades. So let's see, I think that's about it. Lots of other little things if anybody has questions.
No question.
And then just as a final, so we are entering the phase now, finally have entered a phase where we expect to be able to fully expand services where we've been funded to do so through the transit plans. We've recovered from the operator shortage that was really limiting that as part of the COVID impact. So we're cruising, we'll be fully staffed up. We have 2 new staff and a new part-time transportation assistant who wasn't like an intern, started to replace the woman who worked with us for 2 years, who will be moving into a full-time permanent position that's been vacant for a long time with the service planning team. And then we are filling 2 other positions that have been vacant for a while, which we actually had trouble filling. So they're coming on board, a fellow from an NPO over in Asheville during this week, Logan DiGiacomo, and an employee from Raleigh will be joining first week of June. Hence, agreement with your comment at the beginning that the staff taking over some of these meetings will be happy to provide these reports in the future. So we'll be figuring all that out as it relates to all of our transit plan involvement across the 3 counties, the 3 NPO involvement that we have. So we'll be identifying and figuring this out, but it will likely be someone other than me. Sure, although I do.
Nisha, I just realized Orange County doesn't have an update.
Yeah, we gave our bit there, we're good.
It's good.
So we also have an update that the second circulator
No,
is
just-
set to start in Hillsborough before the end of the fiscal year. And so we're planning an event for that. We'll get invitations out to everybody.
Do you have a date for that yet?
We are still working on the date for the event with our elected officials.
We'll keep our eyes
We're
peeled.
trying to time that with the federal break in their schedule.
We've closed out a couple capital projects in our annual work program, and we have 5 new mod vehicles in and stuff, so we'll be expanding our mod services hopefully soon as well. So we get some more hiring underway, if we get that approved stuff in the next budget, and go forward from there.
All right, well, yeah, as Meg alluded, to their reassignment of staff, I will be the primary person attending backward group meetings in Orange or Durham going forward. Madeline, I believe, is right now who we plan on coming, be supporting her, and certainly look forward to her involvement. And she'll also potentially be working on some other projects like Chapel Hill's high capacity transit network, which I'd like to update, is going for signature today. So the consultant asked for a couple things and we're like, one of these we can live with, one of them you're gonna have to live with not having that change. But I think it's all in the right direction. One thing that did come through that process, I'd just like to highlight to everyone. We have standard contract language that we use that references a whole lot of federal regulation and law. We've not received any instruction to change that. So until we receive specific instruction from FTA or FHWA, We're not changing our standard template to.
The language not being changed, so the language there and all
No,
that stuff.
so if there was an executive order rescinded or anything like that, until we get instruction either from our grantors or through the Department of Transportation, North Carolina, we need to change that. We're not changing it. We will align and get specific instruction and guidance. So,
Could we get our requirement to the state as well?
right,
They give us a so that. They better put it.
we are monitoring legislation at federal and state level. And we want to respond to changes, not react to changes. It's very important for us as we move forward. I don't think of anything else significant. Oh, I do want to point out to everybody, although most of you are probably already aware, I got married in March.
I wondered.
And Sarah is the first person who I married.
I was wondering if I should be surprised.
So,
Public disclosures.
publicly disclosing, that is not the sole reason, that I'm stepping back as the visible face here. It's mostly to give staff and to, the capacity and to train up, but I did want to acknowledge that in front of everybody. So it's out there.
Welcome to this.
And I'm running for re-election that, huh? That's it?
No, I won't be reelection, but I, you know, as you all know me, I provide a lot of hands-on support to all of our projects, so.
Something happens at the MPO when Caroline and Colleen was running the MPO, so they do the same at the MPO.
At the TC meeting, Colleen will be chairing those. But that's, to give, that staff capacity. Again, it's, running meetings is a thing that we all need practice with. I certainly need some improvement, and I'm not shying away from doing it at the NPO board level there. Have not heard a whole, I went to Washington twice in May. So once when, coincidentally, not with Capitol Hill Transit in their visit, but at the same time. And then the following week, there was a fly-in for Infrastructure Week that I participated in. Not hearing a whole lot of concern other than around some of the passenger rail discretionary programs. So potentially a de-escalation of funding for state federal partnership, which is the core program that funds passenger rail improvements. But at the same time, potentially more money directed into the Christie program. As I explained to the 20-year-old federal staffers, yeah, that's what it's always been, Stephen. It's always been like that. We do a great job in our area of taking the resources that they provide us and focusing on what we believe the priorities are within the framework and the rules they give us. And we're going to continue to do that. You know, I'm optimistic that we will get a long-term, fully funded reauthorization. And we'll see what that looks like. But core programs, we're not talking about eliminating any core programs. They may do things like redirect, either create Safe Streets for All as a core program or redirect that funding through the HSIP program, which is still intact as a safety priority as an example. That's my update, Stephen.
So two things, and I apologize for not saying this in the update, but one thing that we did do with Tax District, we are working with E-Tree. You reminded me of that when you said that, to the Institute of Transportation Research and Education. They are actually doing, I know I've been talking about a revenue forecasting, so they're actually doing it by county for us, for the registration, for the half-cent sales tax. They're doing it reasonably cheap, so I really.
Is there a schedule for that model?
They're hoping by in the fall. So what I want to do is when they do that, bring that back here and kind of get rid of the
Moody
movie.
must a schedule for that.
Yeah,
So I need to give that to Travis and they.
Okay,
They
yeah.
know that, hey, there's a schedule of model.
Okay, yeah.
and Stuff like that.
Yeah, I'll get the revenue stuff. I'm gonna bring it back here, and then my goal is to implement that in the financial model, take out what we have for Moody's. And then put that in.
Before the final modeling is done, I
Yeah.
was saying if we can get a schedule for ITRE's review.
Yeah,
the models,
they gave me when they're doing it. I think it's gonna be in the fall, like they're gonna be done.
They're gonna be completed in the.
Completed, I think, in the fall. Yeah, I gotta double check with them.
Okay, if
But
I
this is
get a
conversation.
date, that would be really helpful.
Okay, and we have the budget to to do that. I was able to piggyback on a different contract. The other question I have is to avoid conflict, just for Orange County, the way Brandy is staff working group administrator, the way Stephanie is TPAC administrator, who in Orange County is the physical staff working group administrator? Okay, so all the stuff goes through Darlene now.
Everything is one on.
Okay, so you and Sarah, the voting members. of
We're the
Orange
voting
County.
members, there should be some sort of
Transportation.
sharing thing
Okay.
like that, so we should be included, so we're aware of what's going on, so we can.
Right, but
provide proper
I just want to make
oversight
sure
of that
the way TDA and Go Triangle delineated,
Yeah.
the way like Stephanie's delineated half of, I just want to make sure that there's that delineation.
Right.
So-
That falls into all the stuff that we're
Okay,
looking at.
yeah, I just want to.
Looking at is,
Yeah, it's everything.
Thank you. We did not beat Vision's record, but we're still within 2 hours.
Good.
I do want to make sure that we acknowledge within a motion for adjournment that we are canceling the June 18th, 2025 meeting. Support?
Second.
Support by Ashley. Any opposed? Motion carries. Have a great rest of the day. And I'll see some of you in Durham in a little bit.
Yeah.
Thanks, y'all.
Keep some.